Okay, welcome back. Today we're diving into, well, a pretty fascinating source.
Definitely a bit unusual this time.
Right. It's William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica. And we're focusing on just one entry.
Something called Anthracokali.
Exactly. Our mission really is just to unpack what this specific text says about it.
And the first thing that jumps out, right away, is what it is.
Yeah, it's not your typical plant or mineral extract, is it? The source defines it as, get this, anthracite coal.
Anthracite coal.
Dissolved in boiling caustic potash.
Boiling caustic potash, yeah. Just those base materials alone are quite something to think about as a remedy.
Frankly, yeah, kind of surprising, but that's what the source says Anthracokali is.
Absolutely. And we're sticking just to Boericke today, what this Materia Medica claims about its uses and, properties.
Okay, so let's get into those uses. The source, it really emphasizes skin affections up front.
It does. Conditions like scabies, prurigo, that really intense itch, chronic herpes are listed.
And even things like cracks and ulcerations on the skin. So quite a range of surface issues.
Yeah, it covers a lot of ground there.
But it doesn't just say skin problems.
Yeah.
It actually gets more specific about the type of eruption, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It talks about a papular-like eruption with a vesicular tendency.
So like little raised bumps that might turn into blisters.
Kind of, yeah. Small bumps, maybe with a tendency towards blistering. That's the picture it paints.
That's interesting detail. Not just skin stuff, but a specific look. And it even mentions where on the body.
Precisely. It specifically calls out the scrotum, also hands, tibia, shoulders, and the top of the feet.
Wow, okay. Mentioning the scrotum specifically gives you a very particular image from this text.
It really does. It helps build that symptom picture, directly from Boericke's description.
Almost like a map of where you might see this, according to the source. But what's really fascinating is that Boericke doesn't just stop with skin.
No, the list takes a bit of a turn.
It suddenly includes intense thirst.
Right, which seems, totally separate from the skin issues we were just talking about.
Completely. You have to wonder, just based on this text, what the connection was supposed to be.
Yeah, what unifying idea links skin eruptions to extreme thirst? It's not obvious from just reading it.
And the list keeps going, broadening out even more.
It notes chronic rheumatism, so maybe long-term joint or muscle pain.
Again, a totally different body system. Skin, general sensation, now joints and muscles.
And there's one more main thing listed.
Ah, right. Bilious attacks.
Yes, and it clarifies that a bit. Vomiting of bile, tympanic distension of abdomen.
So digestive problems, specifically involving bile, vomiting, and that kind of bloating or abdominal swelling.
Exactly.
Okay, wow. So just looking at the list from Boericke, skin affections, intense thirst, chronic rheumatism, bilious attacks. It's quite a mixed bag, isn't it?
It really is. It suggests this text saw Anthracokali, this coal and potash thing, having effects across, multiple systems.
A very wide range of action, apparently.
And the source even gives a little hint about practical use, mentioning low triturations.
Low triturations. Okay, for listeners maybe less familiar with homeopathic texts like this one, what does trituration generally mean here?
Well, in homeopathy, trituration is basically a process. You grind the substance, often with something like lactose.
Yeah.
And that's usually the first step before it's diluted multiple times. So low triturations just means fewer steps of dilution compared to what they call high potencies.
But it's still fundamentally about preparing it through that process of dilution and shaking, right?
Exactly. That's key to the whole system Boericke is describing. So the low description still places it within that framework. It's the source's instruction on prep and use.
Got it. So even the low form described here is prepared using these specific homeopathic methods.
Precisely. Gives you a little window into how it was handled and thought about in that specific context.
Okay, so we've really taken a look into this very specific kind of mind-bending entry in Boericke.
Definitely mind-bending.
We pulled out the origins, anthracite coal, boiling caustic potash, pretty unforgettable.
Yeah.
And this wide list of applications the source gives it. Specific skin issues in specific places, intense thirst, chronic rheumatism, and those bilious attacks.
It's all straight out of this one historical source, Boericke's Materia Medica. It shows what was being claimed about Anthracokali back then.
So reflecting on what we've just unpacked from this text, here's something for you, the listener, to consider. Given that Boericke tells us Anthracokali comes from anthracite coal, dissolved in boiling caustic potash, what part of that list of ailments it supposedly treated do you find the most surprising?
Definitely something to think about after this unusual deep dive.